Alright, today I'm going to give you guys a detailed look at this SH Figuarts Rocket Raccoon figure from Infinity War. Now, the outer box, it looks almost exactly like your usual outer box, a brown box. Pretty much the same length and width. But the inner box, you can see it's a lot smaller for Rocket Raccoon. I wasn't expecting this tiny of a box, but it's kind of cute. But it doesn't come with a whole lot of stuff, as you'll get to see later on. But yeah, I just want to show you guys the box because it is tiny. And just to show you guys, here's a box comparison. I have Thor on the left and Rocket on the right. You can see it's almost half the size of that box. Alright, so here's Rocket Raccoon outside the packaging and all the accessories. So let's take a look at the accessories first. First, you'll see that this figure actually comes with a base, a translucent base. That's nice with the little clamp. And then Rocket comes with 2 extra heads, just right there, which I'll show later on. And then he comes with a sling for the weapon and a bunch of tiny hands. And you might want to consult the back of the box for a couple of poses that you could give for Rocket Raccoon. It's fully articulated, but as far as how you could pose him, he's somewhat limited because of how big the weapon is. And so basically, this is the pose you want to get him to do. And also, I guess that one is kind of cool too. He's shouldering the weapon, but here's the pose that I gave him. Alright, and here's Rocket Raccoon outside the packaging, and he is carrying his big weapon right here. And with all creatures that comes with a tail, I usually use the tail as a third leg, so he is balancing quite nicely. There's the tail and the third leg, so yeah, he doesn't really need the base at all. But if you really wanted to let him use the base, you can. But I find this look a lot more pleasing than having a base. And here's the side view of Rocket. And since the tail is attached to the behind using a ball joint, it helps a lot, so you can manipulate the tail to whichever position you want without any problems. And here's the back side of Rocket Raccoon. Alright, so let's get a closer look at that head sculpt of Rocket Raccoon here. I think they did a really good job with it. Oops, too close. There it is. I think the angry look fits him the best, especially when he's holding on to this massive weapon. And here's the other head that he comes with. And with the Rocket, you're switching out the whole head, not just the face, like a lot of the figures these days. And here's the third head, where he's showing teeth, but the mouth is still closed. Alright, so let's go over articulation. Since he's so tiny, I have to zoom in quite a lot in order to for you guys to see. So head is on a ball joint, and then base of the neck there is another ball joint. So he can look down quite a bit and up quite a bit too. And of course, side to side. And then we have the ball jointed shoulder and a hinge joint around the well, there's a ball joint in the chest area, and then the shoulders on the ball hinge. So full range of motion without any issues, and with having the ball joint attached to your chest, it gives you a little butterfly section. So full range of motion, quite nice. And then base of that, there's a bicep swivel. I mean, ooh, this is focus. Okay, and then on the elbow, single jointed elbow, but it gives you over 90 degrees, which is nice. And then ball hinge wrist, so full range. And then same with the other arm. And then as for the chest, there's a ball joint there. So he is oh, and then the waist also has a ball joint. So ab crunch, about that much. Arch back, about that much, because it's hindered by the back piece right there. And the legs are on ball joints, I believe. And yes, they are. They're on ball joints. And then the thigh swivel, little ball hinge joint for the knee. Oh, I meant the hips right here. The hips are on a ball joint. And the knees are on a ball hinge joint. Gives you a little bit of movement here, and then it bends over 90 degrees. And then the ankles are on the ball joint, and there is actually toes articulation, which is crazy because of how tiny these feet are. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the tail is on a ball joint, so full range. And here's a height comparison between Thor and Rocket. As you can see, he is not even half the size of Thor here. So he stands about 2.75 inches or so, somewhere around there. Not even 3 inches. And yeah, but he costs just as much. I ended up paying about around $70 for this guy. I didn't pre-order it initially. I should have done that because I think I would have gotten it a little cheaper. But now I believe I got this off. Was it either Amazon or Big Bad Toy Store? I can't remember which store I got this out of, but it was around $70, somewhere around there. So kind of, well, actually really expensive for something this this size. But as far as articulation, they didn't skim on articulation at all. As far as accessories, it's actually, if you're counting the items, I think this one has more accessories than most of your SH Figuarts. But it is expensive for something this tiny though. So yeah, there you go. There's Rocket. And would I recommend this guy? Yes, if you're building the team. And even though this thing is so tiny, the sculpts on these 3 heads are absolutely gorgeous, and everything else is nice. It's just really tiny. And then one thing that I wouldn't do too much is switch out those hands, because they are very, very tiny, and the wrist peg is even tinier. So you gotta be really, really careful, because I think if you plug and pull a lot on those wrists, they might end up breaking. Because I have seen stress mark on the actual hand itself because of the ball joint. Because they're when they're plugged in, they are a little bigger, so they kind of stretch out the hand a little bit, the socket joint a little bit. So you gotta be careful not to do that too often. And yeah, so there is. That's all I gotta say for Rocket Raccoons from SH Figuarts. Thanks for watching.